Okay, a little more in-depth look here at Lethe. Again, for some reason, it doesn't. I'm doing. All right. This time, just went through it again. Took some notes. So, and just to show that they somehow just can't go 2 minutes without doing something weird. I mean, but famous line: Vulcan has no moon, Mr. Uhura. And what do we see in the sky? Not just a big old planet, but another moon. It's like 2 or 3 moons in the sky of Vulcan. It's like people, and a blue sky at that on Vulcan. And the architecture. We've seen examples of Vulcan architecture in the past, and that ain't that. Okay. The ship has a few Vulcan traits here and there, but other than that, they're just doing weird things. Okay, and the disco. Really? Have these guys never been to a surplus store and seen like T-shirts from ships and units? They don't abbreviate things like that. And I think what you would say USS Discovery, NCC-10, and some kind of design. So come on, people, pay attention. The little things add to the credibility or take away from it, and you're losing it in droves here. And the Enterprise name drop was a bit awkward, because in that conversation I realized they wouldn't, take the old thing, like, translate it to a real life situation. 2 sailors doing a jog, talking about a career thing, and if you want to get transferred to a Nimitz-class ship like the Reagan, no, that doesn't happen. And that's the main thing these people, they think because it's science fiction you can get away with it. No, you can't. Writing science fiction is no different than writing any other form, any other genre. If it doesn't work in a Western, doesn't work in a cop show, it won't work in science fiction either, guys. Don't fool yourselves. It never has, never will. And then we got a holodeck in 2256. It's consistent with the technology we've seen so far, but that shouldn't be there either, frankly. Okay, and then this is holo communication on a level of Star Wars. That they did, and the shaky scan lines and everything. It's like, make up your damn minds, people. And that nothing that couldn't have been with the communications, nothing couldn't have been transferred, conveyed over a view screen for a lot cheaper too. You wonder why it shows costs like $6 million an episode? They're wasting it on stuff like this. And I will accept the holodeck in the sense that this is a science vessel and it's on kind of the cutting edge of it. So it's like what they're doing now, you'll see in regular starships about 20 years down the line. But right now, it's still pushing it. And on top of everything else, it's really kind of grating. And little question: where you're from, soldiers? Like, well, that's stereotypical, but it's kind of like So you ever seen a grown man naked? Like gladiator movies. If Tyler is Vok, which they've been telegraphing in every way possible, frankly, and they do a really good job of providing him with an identity, and they've either I don't know, maybe they've come across was it Janus 6 where the Turnabout True was? They found the thing and transferred his consciousness into some poor schlup they picked up after the battle. But either way, shouldn't this guy be back at Starbase somewhere being debriefed for the next 6 months before they even let him near into the starship? And I'm getting the impression that he just gave him a room in a clean uniform and yep, you're part of the crew. It shouldn't work that way anywhere. I don't care how much power Lorca thinks he's got. Okay, you got a few procedures got to go through first. Okay, he's just picking up strays everywhere. And then we got Vulcan Jihadi. Really? I mean, it's like the usual argument. They're a Christian extremists too. Yeah, they're called Amish. I would think extreme logicians would be the same sort of thing. They wouldn't do a damn thing. They'd be so with their heads stuck up so far up their own contemplation they wouldn't move. And frankly, there's far more effective and logical means to blow up a shuttlecraft than by turning yourself into a big human bomb and it waiting long enough. You know how long he had this monologue? Sarek could have easily kicked him out the airlock and nothing would have happened to him. He could have kept on his merry way and done the mission by himself. But he's allowed to monologue, and glowing brighter and brighter with apparently, I don't know, maybe they're going to exchange program with the Marvel Universe and inject themselves with some extremists. They're just losing the plot here, okay? And one, if he blows a shuttle out in the middle of nowhere, who the hell's going to rally? Because who's going to know? It's not like you're blowing up the Federation Embassy in Shikar, which I believe they did in Enterprise. That you can rally around, because that's a public event and people see it, and then you say, yeah, that was us. Shuttle that goes missing, you're legitimately say, yeah, that was us. Oh, really? How about maybe it was just engine failure? Maybe it was, they got jumped. Orion pirates, loaded. You can't really do that. You have any credibility. So the whole plan is stupid and illogical, therefore. And does the food processor really need to be hyping up, the taste and nutrition of the food? It's like, just give me my damn train, shut up. Don't say anything. Okay, I give you my order, give me it. And then we're gone into, again, with the Vulcan Jedi mind tricks. That's not the way the Katra works. It's like, where the hell do these people learn this stuff? Because we've only seen, was the one example in Star Trek 3 and 4. And it wasn't just a piece of, it was all of Spock's mind in McCoy and driving him wacky. And then when they got to Vulcan, they transferred all of it back into, back into Spock. So, these people, I don't know what the hell they're reading, but it's not anything Star Trek related. I think it's like, like I said earlier in drama, it's Horcruxing it out. It's like, here's a piece here, here's a piece here. I'll have fun, guys. You can call me on this line anytime you want. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay? And also, while we got it, did someone in the makeup department lose the note about how Vulcans are supposed to be kind of yellowish? These guys are as pink as anything. Like, there's a green copper-based blood has an effect, and it makes you look kind of jaundiced. Okay. It gives you the complexion color of a chicken soup. They did think this out when they did this originally, okay? Because originally, Spock was going to be kind of red. Go with the pointy ears and maybe even a tail at one point. But, the makeup test made him look like he was blackface. So they tried to look at, well, let's see. They're thinking green blood. Well, what would be green? Copper-based. And they went from there. They would look kind of yellowish. And they worked it out, and they actually developed a whole color. It's, LN something, as in Leonard Nimoy. It is a color registered with the Makeup Guild. It's specific for Vulcans. Look it up, guys. Come on, it's in the catalog. Apparently we're dealing with these pinkish JJ Vulcans that are also as pink as it can be, despite the green blood. And I noticed that, and some people know, the Vulcan, the Tribble, is missing from Lorca's desk. I don't think this is by accident. I think it's someone finally realized the Tribbles are copyrighted to David Gerald, not to Paramount and Star Trek, which means every time a Tribble shows up on there, David gets a check, which I'm sure delighted him no end. Whatever he thinks about the show, the fact that he had to get paid every time that Tribble showed up in Trill, guess what? And of course, studios don't want to pay money they don't have to, so that's why no more Tribble probably. Although I imagine if it comes to a story point and Tyler walks in, they have the Tribble back there and see if it reacts or not. Then we come to Lieutenant Stamets. I think I liked him better when he was a jackass. Because now he's just a goofball and a hippie. And groovy? Come on, please. Alright, and then we have the Admiral showing up. And two ships out in the field do not request permission to land. What, is her ship supposed to actually touch down on top of his? That's what you're asking for, and that's why it's idiotic. They have permission to board, or permission to dock. Or someone asks permission to come aboard, or permission to beam aboard in this case. It's just one more thing. These people don't really know what they're doing. Now, moving on along, I guess Mia Kirshner makes an okay Amanda. Can't say the same for the Vulcan Kung Fu that takes place during this whole thing. It's no, I don't think so. It looks cheesy. It's who's the fight coordinator on this thing anyway? I'm still kind of why did they not let Jason Isaacs use his own accent? You know? Were they afraid it would give away that he's to some ignorant that English accent must be a baddie? You know? Despite 7 years of Jean-Luc Picard and a British accent. So I think it's just And getting back to the shuttle, why does supposed super genius Michael Burnham, supposed to be better at logic and everything than the Vulcans themselves, have to have a basic bit of logic of what people think about when they're about to die explained to them by Tyler? All emotional, human, and possibly Klingon agent, And she has to have a bit of logic explained to her by him. All right, now they've been plotting a few numbers, and fairly some information indicates that Michael is about 6 years older than Spock. And she's just graduated from the Vulcan Science Academy at this point. It's this flashback scene. And Spock apparently hasn't even started yet. Well, of course, he never will start. He'll say, screw you, and I'm off to Starfleet. Isn't this whole Sophie's Choice thing about, we'll allow one of your kids in? Well, one of them isn't at least, 5-6 years away from starting, so why even force that issue? It's kind of contrived, don't you think, which actually kind of racks up the entire show to this point, really, especially this scene. And especially contrived is the mind meld within the mind meld. It's like the fourth wall break within the fourth wall break in Deadpool. So this is getting a little too stupid. Why does she need to do a mind meld? She's already in, okay? And it's like for all the purpose to activate something that should be automatic. It's an emergency beacon. For emergencies, it should just come on automatically when something gets wacky, I don't know. So why does he need someone to wake up and hit the button? It should be on before he even hits the floor. Again, don't know what they're doing. So these things should be thought out long before the pencil hits the paper. And we learned that Captain Lorca sleeps with a phaser under his pillow. I hope room service has that memo. Yep. Otherwise, that, early morning breakfast can be rather rudely refuted. Alright, and we're back on ship now. What purpose does the force field around Sarek's bed serve? Because Burnham just walks in and it goes bye-bye. It doesn't go back up. So why was it there in the first place? Just to show we can do a force field effect? Again, wasted money. Netflix must be so proud. Watching our money go up in smoke like this. Now, to be fair, James Frain is doing a decent job with Sarek. All right. The personality is okay with a good match, but he's also being given more to work with this time around. And then we got Michael Burnham, who's been serving among humans for nearly a decade in Starfleet. Presumably remembers her human birth parents. It was raised by a human stepmother, even though she was on Vulcan. She still had, Amanda was not going to let her be a total unemotional monster. And only now she's coming to terms with her emotions? Really? And then, of course, we're back again with the Electroid Klingons. Another opportunity to bring in some original series Klingons. And maybe provide, some background. And it's like, these are the guys, and they're going to overthrow these jackasses. And this is why we're going to get, our little Ming the Merciless descendants as the Klingons. No. We're still with these jackasses. And surprise, surprise, Lorca is less than enthusiastic about going to rescue his superior-ranking bedmate who just promised to take away his command. Ooh, he's evil. Again, mixed bag. The Sarek stuff is interesting. It's a nice way to try and reconcile the whole thing with, why Sarek really cheesed off. Why Spock cheesed off Sarek by not going to, after all these plans have been made for him to go to the Vulcan Science Academy and then the Expeditionary Force. But no, I'm going to Starfleet. And the thing is, I'm leaning more towards Dorothy Fontana's version of the novel Vulcan's Glory, where it's like, one, back then he was still an only child, and I'm still leaning towards that anyway. which I'll get to in a minute, but it was the fact that Spock enlisted in Starfleet behind Sarek's back that cheesed him off. It wasn't just that he didn't want to go to the Vulcan Science Academy, it's the fact that he didn't even tell Sarek until after he had already been signed up and been accepted to Starfleet Academy. That is why Sarek got royally cheesed off and wouldn't speak to her for 18 years. And again, since Dorothy Fontana started that little story in the first place, I'll lean towards her because she's the one who had to put some thought into motivation here, and not these Johnny-come-latelys who are trying to shoehorn in their little Mary Sue character and somehow shoehorn her into this whole mess. Bottom line, I think we're doing as a Klingon ship. The D7 looks nothing like a D7 indicates, and these weirded out band uniforms and technology that's way too advanced for it should be. We are dealing with another parallel dimension here. Kind of like the Mirror Universe is trying to realign with the Prime Timeline and not quite making it, which is why you get certain parallels in the Mirror Universe. It's trying to realign itself, but it's not quite making it. And it's my assertion that in the Prime Timeline, I'll get to the full thing because we're going to say, what about Cybok? Again, Cybok is even best. It's a wild card because we don't know how old he is, how far back this Vulcan princess was, which is another concept. Because but parallel timeline. In our prime time, no, Spock was never raised with a human stepsister or adopted sister. And also, Cybok is the product of a drunken ghost story that Kirk and McCoy were telling around the campfire. Another ritual of camping out that Spock wanted to go through. After a few too many helpings of Dr. McCoy's beans, or at least a special ingredient. Like one thing I want to do one day is get together with somebody and do a decent McCoy and do a commentary track to go with Star Trek V, kind of MST3K style, but then basically Kirk and McCoy telling the story of how Spock's brother, and he was with the Vulcan princess. That's it. Captain Vulcan has no brother. Shut up, Spock. We're telling the story. That's what they do.
Indoor voice.
Stuff like that. And that's how we're going to go with that one. So basically, no. And even Roddenberry, I think, would have gone, because he considered Star Trek V apocryphal. So I think I have some support on that one. And it's self-contained anyway, so it doesn't have anything going beyond that. So that is my basic rundown there. 5 didn't happen. This is taking place somewhere else. Spock's an only child, as it should be, as it always has been originally. It's still stupid, but that's how I'm compartmentalizing it. And now just waiting for Orville to come on tonight, and we'll do something on that later. So PayPal, Patreon down below. Catch you later.